we've raised the bar.
Learn firsthand from successful business owners and create your own path to success.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with team lead of the Enriquez Group, Realtor Vinny.
Hi, you Road Truth listeners. Today I have Rich. He is the founder of Hoppin, self-serving beer and wine, and some places liquor. A really kind of a cool trend right there. Before we get into Rich, I just want to throw out that we do have a sponsor, Melody Cloud. So take a look in the show notes if you're looking to get with Melody Cloud. Thank you, Rich, for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's probably kind of a nice feature that your employee, your overhead is probably a little bit less, right, for franchisees.
Yeah, I mean, the initial cost is a little bit more expensive, I would say, on the front end, but the overhead's a lot less going into it year over year, and then the actual savings that we save on national average is 23% of every keg is wasted. Our waste is around 3 to 4%. So what you get out of it and the peace of mind of having the technology is super helpful.
So how many of your places, your locations?
How many employees?
What's it?
You said how many employees?
No. How many of how many of your places are basically corporately run compared to franchise? Because I know you're making a push for franchises. So what's like the ratio, I guess?
Yeah, currently we have 2 corporate locations. One I'm actually in the process of hopefully selling to a franchisee. So we'll have 1 corporate location is the goal. And then we have 1 current franchise open, 5 more opening this year, and additional 10 that are in the pipeline and development. So, and then we have another group of 4 that's looking to sign here in the next couple of weeks in Austin, Texas, and another group in DC looking to sign. Then we have a group coming up from Florida. So definitely a ton in the pipeline.
For individuals they're looking to, I guess, purchase like a franchise for Hoppin, what's their onboarding? I know like McDonald's, and I talked about this last podcast where they have like a McDonald's University where they walk you through everything you got to do. I mean, how in depth is it for Hoppin?
Yeah, McDonald's is going to be a lot more in depth, even with the systems and processes that they've created. There's a lot that goes into having a food component. We've eliminated that component. So ours is a little bit easier, but when you sign the dotted line, we help you out throughout the entire process, from architectural design to site selection to negotiating your lease. Our legal team will assist with that, and our realtor team will assist with that. So we help from that whole jump. And then construction, our management architect design team will do the construction management if you wish, unless you want to take that on yourself. And then once you get doors closer to opening, 90 days out, we start the marketing for you, and we start training about 45 days out. Training's about 11 days total, give or take. We're working on trying to bring that down to about 9 days. And then once you're opening, week comes, our team will actually fly out for the entire week. We'll have 1 to 2 of our team there to support. Our tech company will also have 1 or 2 of their team to support as well. And we're there for the entire grand opening week to push and train your staff as well.
Well, let's rewind. I mean, growing up, was Rich kind of into beer? Was he into like business? I mean, who was young Rich?
Competitive, played a lot of sports growing up, was varsity basketball, varsity baseball, varsity golf as a freshman. So very competitive, really loved, I thought I would be some type of professional athlete. I ended up going to Myrtle Beach right out of high school and got in the golf industry, became a PGA professional, ran golf courses, taught the game of golf, was a great portion of my life, but it made me realize that I was on the wrong side of the counter. Most of my members were in sales or they were entrepreneurs. So I realized that if I wanted to play more golf, I needed to be on the other side of the counter. And I got into sales. Sales led me into starting my first company at 26 years old. So as far as the beer side, I didn't really start drinking until I was 25 years old. Really never cared for it. Honestly, just saw a great opportunity with self-serve and having it be the first one here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So did you officially play in the PGA?
No, I wasn't a playing professional. I was a club professional. So I ran clubs and taught.
So what was that moment like? And it's always intriguing, I guess, with athletes, right? Of like knowing that, because you talked about how gifted you were, I guess, at a young age, and then realizing that you weren't able to kind of play on the same level of maybe the top people in the industry.
Yeah, I think it's at every level is different, right? I was probably one of the best in high school at multiple sports, and then you get to your senior year and you're like, well, there's actually a ton more people that are a lot better than me. And I could have played baseball in college and ended up going towards the golf avenue. But and then at the next level in college, there's a ton of people that are amazing in college and they don't make it to the league. So at every level, and that's no different in business, right? Or in life, there's always somebody that has it way worse than you, and there's always somebody that has it way better off than you. So that's why perspective comes into play. But I think being an athlete gave me that competitive edge. When my back's against the wall, I'm going to do pretty much everything I can to be successful. Was
there a moment? Was it self-realized? I mean, because I have people on here that's like they had this particular moment where they're like, I'm not as good as those people right there. I can't do this. I got to figure something out. Other times it's like a slow burn, like kind of realizing it over time. What was it for you?
Yeah, in the golf industry or golf in general, it was in college. A lot of the guys that tried to play on local tours or even try and get into traveling across the country on tours were they were way better than me. I mean, I'd go out and shoot anything from a 65 to a 72, and they would fire a 64, 63, 65 consistently on the courses we were playing. But then when they would go play on any of these mini tours or local tours, they just couldn't handle it either mentally, or the courses are set up a little bit tougher on tournaments. And I think in college, I just realized, my mom's like, hey, we got somebody that wants to back you and be your sponsor. I'm like, I'm not going to waste their money. I know that I'm not that good, and it would take a lot of money and a lot of time and effort, and I wouldn't be in school. I'd be on the golf course every day practicing.
So you're helping people out with their golf game. You're kind of working that direction. And the saying, right, that business is made on the golf course. So how much of kind of like your knowledge of kind of where you are now came from kind of the conversations, the networking that you haven't happened back in the day?
A lot of it was just the opening my eyes to actually the freedom that these guys had, right? I mean, every holiday, every weekend, the golf course was busy, but then you look at Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, like the days where people are supposed to be working, and they're golfing, whether it be with friends or whether it be with clients. So I start to see, the goal in life is to be free. And if we get stuck behind a counter at a golf course for 60, 70 hours a week, I have no freedom. And I think that was the eye opener. And just chatting with those guys and having those relationships really just changed my perspective on what is the true happiness in life. And the money is just a way to keep count. The true happiness is freedom.
Okay, so you want freedom, which probably a lot of people listening want freedom. What was your first step to kind of towards the path of freedom?
Sales, getting into sales, right? I was fortunate enough to get into a sales position, and the CEO at the time was the old CEO of Starbucks, and he said, if you can sell, you can do anything. And that is exactly what led me into my first company. I was a broker of services for big construction projects here in Charlotte, North Carolina, whether it be high rises, hospitals, hotels. And I just went out and sold other people's work, and I just brokered it. So a lot of the jobs that I sold, I had no idea how to do it. I just found the right people that could do it. And yeah, that was probably the game changer for me. Those first 3 years when I built that company before I sold it were probably the most stressful and probably the most time consuming. There were 16, 18-hour days, but I saw the bigger picture at the end, which was if I can do this now while I'm young, I'll have a lot of freedom in the future.
Was that a game plan to sell it after 3 years or sell at least in the time frame?
Goal was 4 or 5 years, and it expanded very rapidly. And I got to a point where the money was more than I ever thought I would make, but the stress and the time consumption just outweighed the money. And timing worked out. It was an election year back in 2016, going into 2017. And I figured, who knows what's going to happen with the new president. So I offloaded it, and it's been great to see that thing continue to flourish. And it's like your baby turning 18, going to college. You want to see them be successful and not get in trouble. And that's what it's like selling a business.
All right, so you sold the business, and then what happens next?
Before selling it, I opened up a homemade ice cream shop here in Charlotte. Two of my best friends came to me like, hey, you want to invest in an ice cream shop? And at that time, again, I had a lot more money than I thought I would have, and just needed something different, something fun and customer facing. So I put up the money. We opened up our first ice cream shop called Two Scoops Creamery here in Charlotte. And man, it became a staple. I thought it was just going to be something fun. We have 6 locations, another couple locations opening this year. And that partnership is by far one of the best partnerships. So that happened in the first location in 2016. Once I sold my business, the thought of investing back into more real estate, I invested in the commercial real estate, got out of all my residential real estate. And Hoppin, the idea of Hoppin was presented to me. And the self-serve technology was back basically in November of 2016, the idea was brought to me. And then February of 2017, it started to become a reality, and we signed a lease and went from there.
When you say it was brought to you, what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so every business that I have either started, funded, helped grow, I've never been the idea guy. I've just kind of been the guy that executed and just kind of had the balls to actually just go do it and take action. So the self-serve technology was a buddy of mine at the time said, hey, you want to invest in a bar? And I think it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I hung up and I said, there's no way I'm investing in a bar. And then he sent me a video of the technology, and I was like, all right, this is really cool. It's different. It's something that Charlotte doesn't have. And if we do it the right way, we can be very innovative and bring something new to the city. And our first year, we poured 3.5 million ounces of alcohol. So it obviously, the proof of concept was there, and that's why we're franchising across the country.
What do you think kind of separates you from other people, where you're saying that you have the balls to do it and kind of gets to know how to do it? I mean, what separates you, I guess, from other people?
Very risk. I love risk for one, but two, I think it's the fear. Everybody fears to fail. And I think failing is the most successful thing that you can do in life, right? It's the only way that you're going to learn. When we're successful, we really don't learn anything because things are going well and you're just kind of cruising along. I always say failure is your trampoline to success. If you're not failing, you're not learning. If you're not learning, you're not growing. And shit, if you're not growing, you're not living. So I think for me, it's just the ability to know that if I'm going into something, I'm just going to take action. And instead of reading a book or watching a podcast or listening to a YouTube or watching a YouTube video, I'll just go take the action, and I'll learn more throughout that process and pivot and learn to continue to grow. And I can look back 3 years and say, all right, that's how you do it. Instead of just sitting there and wondering what will happen if I take this leap, or what's going to fail if I do it the wrong way. I think just a lot of people have the ability to do it, and they just don't take that jump.
You said you learn, which I totally agree with you, more from failing than you do from basically just kind of succeeding. I mean, can you look at kind of one of your bigger failures and kind of what you learned from it?
Yeah, I think some of the, not failures that I've had, but some of the learning experiences that have led to either a business being acquired or a partner being bought out was definitely partnerships. I think that's one of the toughest things. You get into partnerships thinking that it's going to be a lifelong or however long the business growth is before you sell it. And it's like a marriage. So I think if there's one big thing I learned in partnerships, there's a lot of key things that I take into any future investments and partners, business opportunities that I have before I ever make that decision. Where back then I was like, all right, we're friends. We both are like-minded people, and we'll be successful. And then you buy a few partners out, and it's like, yeah, you really start to think of partners in a different aspect.
So what do you look for in a partner then? Now,
completely two different skill sets, 100% two different skill sets that complement each other, right? If you're both the same person, you're really not going to get anything done. So you need different skill sets. And then on the flip side, both of you having skin in the game. I've always been the guy that had the money and brought the money to the table. And the other guys that don't have the skin in the game, they kind of see the success and the hard work and all the experience that you've brought to the table and made their idea or what they were, their vision, come to real life. And then they get a little bit of a big head, and instead of investing that same time, energy into the business because they don't have skin in the game, they seem to feel like it's just okay to not work as hard as you. And it's a hard thing to swallow when you have an agreement together.
One of the things, I mean, you talked about kind of partnerships. One of the things that always kind of intrigues me is kind of when the opportunity comes about, but also, I mean, so one of the kind of questions I always ask is, do you have your kind of a list of people you'd want to partner up with, or when an opportunity comes about, you go, okay, I got to find someone, maybe good memory or whatnot. I mean, what does that kind of look like for you? Yeah,
when opportunities come my way, which is definitely a ton, if it's somebody I know, it's more of, hey, what are you going to do, and what's your angle compared to my angle, and what's your direction compared to my direction in regards to what's your responsibilities and what are my responsibilities. And I'm just in a position now in life where it's a little bit different, where if I have a great idea, I'll kind of just do it myself. If somebody brings me a great idea, I'm more than likely going to mentor them instead of becoming a partner, unless they need the funding. And I think for anybody that has ideas that come to them, it's always, do you believe in the person, right? You got to believe in the idea first, but I think it's more important to believe in the person that's going to take that idea and actually make it into a reality. And I'm just in a position now with growing Hoppin that my time is very limited, and those investments are a little bit different for me now with just investing in people. So I try and steer away from partners moving forward and just having great employees and investing in the people that I can build a team with.
Do you ever grab employees from one entity and bring them up to another entity for like a new opportunity and kind of help out there?
Yeah, I have not. There's very rare will I pull anybody from two different entities, just because we have growth plans on both sides. So with the ice cream shops, there's growth plans, and our team has been with us for a very long time. We have growth plans for them with potential equity stake in future locations, which is, something that they understand that business and they're a part of that vision. And then with Hoppin being the basically the sole owner of this brand, my team has a bigger vision, and their main goal is to stick with that vision and that plan.
So what do those goals look like for Hoppin and then also your ice company?
Yeah, Hoppin is continue to franchise across the country. Our goal is to have 30 to 50 locations open, with another 40 to 50 in development, and then have private equity come in, either take all the chips off the table or majority of the chips off the table. And then with the ice cream shops, I don't have as much time to invest in that. My two partners are also very busy, so we take that as it comes. Our goal is to continue growing. We feel like there's a great opportunity with the next 12 to 24 months where there's going to be some really good opportunities in the real estate game to pick up new locations, and we're just taking that at a slower pace as it comes.
Is there, because you're expanding at such a rapid rate, especially with two different entities, right? One more for like the probably the nightlife, happy hour, that kind of thing, where your ice cream business is more kind of, I guess, family oriented and like just getting ice cream. So you're looking at two separate demographics. So is there like a common thread of what you look at in like expansion of like what it needs, or does each one have its kind of own separate like demands, I guess?
Yeah, completely separate. So for Hoppin, we're actually onboarding a real estate group, and they have technology that dives down to as deep as we want it for our analytics and demographics, and being able to really pinpoint where locations need to go. That gives us a really good idea if it's going to be successful or not. I'm not saying that 100% of the time it's going to be successful, because a lot of that will fall on the franchisee themselves. The ice cream shops is we definitely pull demographics, but we want to be in the more family-friendly areas, where you got schools and things, and that's kind of the opposite of the bars. So both have very similar ideas at a top level of what we need to do and the demographics we need to search for, but the demographics are completely different.
So both of them have their own particular algorithm, and they're both kind of outsourced by the real estate firm?
Yeah, with Hoppin, yes. With Two Scoops, we do a lot of that in-house with our own stuff.
So do you have like some kind of like I guess algorithm or something, or is it just basically kind of, hey, we know of a place, or there's something you search for? How in depth does that go in the expansion for the ice cream parlor or ice cream places?
Yeah, it's kind of twofold. We lean on our real estate, our local real estate agent, since we're just staying in North Carolina and South Carolina. It's a little bit easier because we know these areas a lot better. We're not trying to expand across the country where we need a bigger firm and that has much bigger technology to pull that. So locally, it's a lot of that leaning on our own real estate agent locally, our commercial broker, and then exactly what we know about the territories, because we can open a lot more ice cream shops around the city of Charlotte and surrounding cities. We can't open as many Hoppin locations in one city.
Do you foresee, being that you're so kind of hyper focused on your communities, right? Do you ever foresee a brand, or maybe Hoppin, right, that's going to expand out across the U.S. in the future?
Yeah. So Hoppin right now, we're expanding. We have location opening up in 2 locations in Texas this summer, one in Dallas and one in Fort Worth. We'll have multiple locations in Nashville, Tennessee, opening into this year, early next year. And then we have actually a few others that'll be opening up across the country. So yeah, Hoppin is rapidly growing across the country. The ice cream shops we'll keep in a regional, probably North Carolina, South Carolina, over the next several years. And then depending on how many locations we get to, we'll look at somebody purchasing us there as well.
Is there anything you have to factor in when you expand to other states? Because I know for like Jack in the Box, I know back in the day when they expanded to the East Coast, they failed, I guess, pretty bad, just because I think the taste of everything. But is there something particular in the beer industry that you have to kind of factor in?
A lot of it is location and just finding where are those pockets in each city that are where people are going to hang out, eat, drink, and just have a good time. So that's usually the easiest part as far as finding that location, because anybody that lives in their city knows where people are going to hang out, and you can easily pick those. But the biggest thing is just understanding the laws around alcohol and liquor and the liabilities and liquor laws and licenses. Some states have a limited amount, and it could cost you $1 million to get a license. So we steer away from those states currently until we can continue to dive into the other markets that are a lot easier to entry.
Gotcha. So I know you already talked about kind of like the structure or the vision you have for basically your two brands. I mean, but if we're talking in 5 years from now, do you foresee, I mean, bringing on another brand, or is it going to be simply focused on these two? I mean, where do you foresee yourself in the future?
Yeah, 99% of my time is spent on Hoppin. Two Scoops, MJ, and my other partner, Jay, that's what they handle 99% of their time. So for me, Hoppin will be kind of the bigger exit and over the next 5 years. And then I have some other investments that'll also probably be sold to private equity in the next 3 to 5 years as well. So at that point, I can't imagine me starting another business from ground up. I'll probably be more of an investor, mentor, and just bigger picture and investing in ideas that I like with founders that I like.
Gotcha. I mean, something that I guess we really haven't talked to. I know, being that you had such a strong history with like that PGA, the golf kind of circuit, whatever. Did you ever think of, or maybe you did, bring in like professionals in the PGA or other sports to like invest in your companies or entities?
Yeah. So actually, one of my partners, or the only partner I have with Hoppin, is Martin Truex Jr., NASCAR driver. I've just known him for several years, and I brought him on as a partner back in 2018. And yeah, PGA side, really don't know too many of those guys. My brother actually cuts a few of them. He cuts Wyndham Clark. My brother owns 2 barbershops here in Charlotte as well. So he's got more connections in that world than I do. But yeah, I would love to bring on strategic partners moving forward if needed. Though Martin's an amazing partner, but he's very silent. And sometimes you get to a point where you need a strategic partner, or for me, I'm hiring a president, somebody that's been in this world for a while and understands it, so we can grow a lot faster.
How much, when you bring on a president or something like that, that's giving you their feedback and their thoughts, are you fairly coachable, or is it like, I've already built this from here, this is my game plan, I'll take you with a grain of salt? I mean, what do you think that's going to look like?
I think for most entrepreneurs, you almost have to give up that power at some point, right? If you really want to grow, because we're not the implementers, we're not the people that are going to be there doing that work. When you get to a certain point in your business, it's a pivotal point, and it maybe the business can't afford that guy at that time, but you have to find ways to make it happen if you really want to grow. So for me, in our interview, I told him, like, look, I'm going to be on top of the ship. You're going to be on the captain and running the day-to-day. I'm just looking at the vision and the future and being the visionary. You're going to be running the show. And I think he appreciated that, because that's exactly what he wants to come in and do. So it's a position that will complement me very, very well, because I'm not the implementer. That's a guy that has a different work ethic than I do when it comes to doing implementation and systems and processes and keeping up with all that things that are needed at this point of our growth.
How long was that process of finding the right president that you could, interact with? I
was fortunate. I got introduced to 2 within like the same month. One was the old CEO of Walk-Ons, which is a bar restaurant that's expanded and sold to private equity. He was amazing. And then the other one was a local guy that their company has just been acquired, and they've been in franchising since 2007 or 2008. And it's really cool to have those people referred to you, so you don't really have to go out and search for just some random people. And luckily for us, he was local here in Charlotte, which is cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, Rich, thank you so much for being on the podcast. If people are looking to, I guess, pick your brain, because I'll pick your brain or offer you opportunity, or even invest in Hoppin, open their franchise, what's the best way of them getting more information about you guys?
Yeah, for either or, reach out to me directly on LinkedIn or Instagram. It's Rich_Moyer. You can also email me at rich@hoppinbrands.com. And then, if you want just more information on the brand of franchising Hoppin, you can go to ownahoppin.com. Again, or just reach out to me for any questions, mentorship, just anything in the world of business or life.
Well, one last question. How many, because from how I understand, not all basically franchise operators are going to be good fits for all franchises, right? So how many requests do you get, and then in the end of the day, do you find out these weren't the right fit? Is it 20% become the right fit, 80% wrong fit? I mean, what does that really look like?
Yeah, I mean, say if we have 1,000 leads, you might have 100 that are qualified, and then out of those 100, how many do you want to award because they are the right fit? And then a lot of people looking to get into a franchise, they might love the idea, but they might not be the right fit culturally. They might not be the right fit for the brand. So of those 100 that are qualified, you might get 20%. You might get 20 of them that are like, okay, these guys are a good fit. And I think that's one of the biggest thing I've learned early on is you want to award franchises to the best of your ability to the right franchisee, because they'll make or break your brand. Especially early on, they're gonna be the ones that help you sell the next 50 locations. So you got to award to the right individuals.
Okay, I'd like now. Real last question: has there been an operator that you found that was not the right fit after they kind of started the process?
We'll see. We're still early on, and when our franchisees signed, it takes 12 to 18 months for them to open their doors. But yeah, there's one in particular that we'll see how it ends up. He might surprise us, but as of right now, he might have to really find a good operator on his team, which is easy with our business. So that's not a huge impact for us because he's very local here near us in North Carolina, so we'll be able to support him pretty heavily.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Rich, for being here. Hopefully everyone got some nuggets. Please go in the show notes, go find Hoppin. Also to our sponsor, Melody Cloud, go in the show notes for Melody Cloud. And also if you have any real estate needs, please go in the show notes also. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe, please share, and go find Hoppin. Go on their Instagram. Bye, everyone.